This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1659, Comic Talk.
You'll be a dentist. You have a talent for causing things. Some be a dentist. People will pay you to be inhumane. Your temperament's wrong.
And welcome to the show. I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Eberly.
You'll be a success.
Yes, in case you're wondering why we're playing that song, it's because our own Adam Murdo recently was on stage performing that in a local production of Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh my God,
So
that was
you were playing music just now? I couldn't even hear it.
yeah, it was. You'll be a dentist.
Yeah, Adam is actually in Stone Harbor, New Jersey right now via the telephone. It's a long story. We had everything set up. Some technical difficulties here, but we're happy to have him here. And
I'm happy to be here via web telephone.
That's right.
And I want to tell our audience that Murd gave a star turn as the dentist.
It was a riot.
Bravura performance, my
Yes,
friend.
Orange Scrivello, DDS.
Yeah, and I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being there, because it was great to have some friendly faces out in the audience. And, and CGS really came through for me because you three gentlemen were in the audience on Friday night and on Saturday night. Who should show up but Peter the Rios, his girlfriend Erin.
Nice.
A couple of theater professionals there. And also Kevin Moyer.
All right.
Nice.
Oh. Actually, I missed a first nighter, so that's why I was there Friday.
I'm glad I went Friday. That worked out so much better.
Despite the torrential downpour there.
Yeah, oh God, I was drenched the whole show. Adam, I got to tell you, man, I know I said it there that night, but boy, people who don't know you would never know what a sweet guy you are. You were absolutely horrendous to everybody on stage, but it was beautifully done.
Oh, yes.
And the illusion is complete.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Wow. You were one big ass, man.
He was an SOB of the first order.
Ooh.
Yes, if I can trick some of my best friends in the world into thinking that I'm a believable SOB, then I've done my job.
I'll tell you, I was trying to convince Carlene and the kids to come, and for various reasons we didn't. I'm actually glad they didn't. I think you would have scared Ben and Matt. Yeah. So I'm actually glad they didn't go for this one.
Yeah, this is my first time seeing Little Shop of Horrors in any shape or form. I've never saw the movie.
Oh, it blows me away.
I never saw any of that stuff. So, and I was so focused on the show, I didn't realize I was on an aisle seat down the middle. On the opposite aisle to me was Adam's parents. I didn't even know they were there till intermission. I was so focused on performance. And, it starts out on, Skid Row, and the curtain opens, and, of course, I know he's a dentist, so he's not in there yet.
All the vagabonds are going about.
And I see in the corner, I guess, far right, as I look at the stage, there's a bum sitting there. But I look at it, it's like, it looks kind of familiar. And he's got a bright orange hat on. Under the hat, I saw mutton chops. I go, oh, my God, that's Adam!
He was a great wino.
Yes.
Yeah, outstanding wino.
And, of course, in my opinion, stole the show as a dentist.
Yeah.
The only problem I had was when he had the mask on. It was a little tough to hear him through the mask.
Right, the special gas mask. Yeah, we had a few logistical problems with that. We tried it with the microphone inside the mask. We tried it with the microphone clipped to the lapel just under the mask. We got a little bit of reverb no matter what we did, so we just kind of had to accept it as collateral damage and move on. But either way, you could understand that I was dying.
Yes. But a wonderful performance, and I mean, it wasn't really a high note, but he hit that real long note.
Wow.
It was like, held it for like forever. Look at my watch. Oh my God, he's still going on. Wonderful. So, kudos to you, sir.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
Bravo, my friend.
I'm very glad you guys enjoyed it, and I thank you once again for coming out to support us. Especially you, Chris, since you win the prize for traveling the longest distance.
My friend, it was my pleasure and my honor, and believe me, it was well worth it. I enjoyed it every moment of it. I look forward to next year if you're able to do it again.
Well, I hope they're going to be doing 9 to 5, the musical. And as long as it's in the month of June, when I can be spared from Stone Harbor, as opposed to August when I can't, I will be there. I'm going to be part of the cast. Fingers crossed for the Dabney Coleman part.
Well, you're a shoo-in for that part. Please, I hope
That's another SOB, though, too.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
2 bastards in a row. I'm going to get a typecast pretty soon.
Well, before we get too far ahead in our comic talk, which actually, I'm sorry, we haven't. This is the first time we had an episode in probably about 3+ weeks.
About 2 weeks or so, yeah.
Just things happened and so forth. But I'm
Life.
happy to. Happy
Little
to
Shop of Horrors is partially to blame for that.
happy to get us more or less all together here. But we actually have a new sponsor for the show. This episode of Comic Geek Speak is brought to you by Zia Comics. That's Z-I-A Comics. They are a comic store located out in Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Wow.
Yes, they're fans of our show, and they wanted to get the word out because they also have a podcast of their own. They actually do. It's on YouTube at Zia Comics. Also, it's also on the TalkNerdyPodcast.com. Basically, just talking about new releases coming up to the store, new things that are happening, TV and comics. And they video record it and also put it out as an audio on a podcast. And they are also, this has me intrigued, the owners and operators of both the Las Cruces Comic Con and the El Paso Comic Con.
Huh.
So,
Nice.
but I have never been to that part of the country other than like stopping in like I think Phoenix or whatever on the way out to California. So I'd love to get out there someday to some of these cons. I mean, I just came from Heroes Con, we'll talk about in a little while. But yeah, so check them out, ZiaComics.com. Also their YouTube channel, which is under Zia Comics. And like I mentioned, the podcast, www.talknerdypodcast.com. And thank you very much for sponsoring us here at the Comic Geek Speak.
Indeed, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Excellent. So, as I mentioned, now again, guys, this is loosey-goosey, so if you have anything you want to jump in, feel free. But
You know, Pants, as I was driving out here, and once again, it's great to be in the studio,
Uh-huh.
I was anticipating using the phrase loosey-goosey, and I knew you would disappoint me. Thanks, honey.
oh, hey, you're very welcome.
You glazed over the wibbly-wobbly though this time.
Sorry about that. We'll get to that later on, perhaps. And Adam, as well, I don't know how you can just jump in, but if anything sparks your fancy, please interrupt, since we actually can't see you. You're on the via the telephone here.
What?
Okay, I'll try to even assert myself if necessary.
Yeah. But since Adam was in a production of Little Shop of Horrors, he could not make it down to Heroes Con this year, which happened over Father's Day weekend. And we usually travel down on a Thursday, Adam and I, and go to the show the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But since he couldn't make it, and I was traveling solo, I decided just to leave actually on Wednesday because I could, and go halfway down and stop at my brother's place in Virginia.
Oh, nice.
So I did that, and of course, it's a little bit out of the way than where I normally go, so I had to go down I-95 for quite a while. I was like, oh.
That's painful.
Oh, my God. But it was a treat to surprise my nephew, because he didn't know I was coming.
Nice.
Because my nephew, he's 6, he'll be 7 in September, and he just finished first grade. Wow. Yeah. So, it was great to see him, and I get all the updates on him and everything, and everything I hear is that he is a voracious reader.
Excellent.
I mean, they know him by name at the library
Wow.
and everything. And now, I hear this said, and it doesn't necessarily mean that much to me. They say he's reading on a 6th grade level.
Holy cow.
Wow.
So is that a
Wow.
And
That's
he's just finished first grade? That's
that's
very impressive.
outstanding.
that's a big thing?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. That
He's
is
already ahead of
huge.
most of the country anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, so he's obviously a smart kid. How could he not be?
It's your brother.
Still into just, kid things. He loves the Legos. Always get the Legos that Uncle Pants gets from the store.
What'd you give him? What'd you give him?
Well, I didn't get him anything this time, Legos, because, I have some things in storage for later on then.
Okay.
But, it just it wears me out. So we decided to, play a little indoor hockey, floor hockey in there.
Oh.
And, he's a defense. He's running all around it. I'm like, oh, my God. So I guess normal active kid, loves sports. He can shoot left or right-handed.
Wow, ambidextrous. That's
Loves
awesome.
reading. And I haven't pushed too hard the comic book thing, getting to that. A little bit when he was younger. I think I might have got him like a small Batman picture book or whatever. Or, or get him like Batmobile, like Hot Wheels cars or that kind of thing.
Sure.
But my brother, God bless him, is teaching him the classics of Looney Tunes. This kid just devours these Looney Tunes cartoons, like the Gossamer, people, loves that. He can recite some of these Bugs Bunny cartoons verbatim. He loves, Tweety and Sylvester, Wile E.
that's awesome.
Coyote. So we're watching a bunch of cartoons on there, baseball Bugs. We were watching baseball Bugs.
That's my favorite. 1, 2, 3, 6, 0.
1, 2, 3, strike. Right. So then we're watching I think it was one of the Rabbit Season episodes. I think it was like just called Rabbit Season, I believe, where Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are...
Rabbit season. Duck season.
No, he goes, you don't have to shoot him now. He tells you the whole thing about shoot him now. And so he was reciting that, loved that. And I said, oh, one of my favorites is like the other one where he goes, oh, like I'm an elk. Shoot me, I'm an elk. It's Fiddler Crab. And he goes, oh, I never saw one. So we watched that cartoon. I think it's called Duck, Rabbit, Duck. And then, I went to sleep and got the next morning. I'm thinking, you know what? That's what I'll look for, some Looney Tunes comics to get involved in that. And I found like one in a cheap bin down at Heroes Con. And I know DC currently has the Looney Tunes. Actually, Senior gave me a couple of comics I'm going to give to him. But there is actually, I think, one, maybe two trades
there are
of recent things. So I'm looking at that to see if that's something I can maybe get him into reading comics.
Yeah.
If he loves reading and loves cartoons like Looney Tunes,
Well, Patsy,
worked for
I'll check
me.
my kids' inventory and see if I have any Looney Tunes comics. I can give you.
Excellent.
I didn't see
Some
any
of the
when I
only
was there,
comics I
but
had when I was a small child were Looney Tunes comics, so sure,
excellent.
could work for Alex too.
that doesn't mean that I didn't miss them when I was at your store, Chris. I did look for them, though.
So I was like, cause I don't want to, because I always think back, speaking of Peter the Rios, his origin to get into comics was his uncle.
Sure.
His uncle,
right.
got him into comics. And I
Big
think,
old trunk of comics.
I could be that uncle for my nephew. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, so Looney Tunes might be the way to get in. So he's coming up in August before school starts. So I think I have a couple put aside, and
Nice.
I'll try and find that trade at a decent spot.
I like Pants going all legacy here. That's
well,
thrilling.
someone told me that I believe that children are our future. Teach them well.
Oh my God.
And let them lead the way. Show them. Okay, I'm going to stop right now. But anyway, so that was Wednesday. Then I went to Heroes Con on Thursday.
Sure.
And I got down there on Thursday and met up with my friend Wayne Mousseau from up there in Canada. We went to the store. Heroes Are Hard to Find.
Okay.
Because actually, this is the last year they're going to be in that location. They're moving their location to a different part of town.
And that's the store that runs the show.
Yeah,
correct?
that's Shelton Drum, the proprietor of the store. He's been, this is the 35th con for Heroes. 35th anniversary of Heroes Con. The shop's been around for even longer than that. And it's a great shop.
Yeah.
I mean, just so many current books, trades, back issues. I mean, they even have it's not going to be there anymore when they move, but they had a storage shed of back issues because they couldn't have them all in the store. They've got huge statues in the store of Doc Ock fighting Spider-Man. I mean, it's a great store. And I've always wanted to go down there for Free Comic Day because they have so many artists there doing sketches, and a line wraps around the store to get your book signed and get sketches. It's a real friendly atmosphere down there. Southern hospitality, of course.
Sure.
It's true what they say. So, but they're going to a new location next year, and definitely looking forward to go checking that out.
I just recently posted a video on Facebook of his store, and I've never been to the store, but boy, does it look nice just from that video.
Yeah, their store right now. Yep, so the store's moving. So looking forward to going to see the new store next year. So anyway, got down to Heroes Con, and Wayne came with me. We're walking around checking out the store and checking out the area. And then, Heroes Con opened on Friday. It's probably my favorite convention because it's pretty much just about, and I've said this, ad nauseum about, about comics and the comic creators. And it's just...
I think of all the conventions I have ever been to, it is one of, if not the best, to get FaceTime with artists and creators, if you want to do that.
Yep.
It's just an absolutely spectacular forum venue to do that in.
Yep. And I was talking to, Buzz, our friend Buzz, down at the con. I guess Friday afternoon, he goes, "Hey, I saw you standing in line waiting to get in. What's up with that? Why did you ask me for a pass? I could have got you in." I said, "Well, Buzz, first of all, thank you. But, I bought my ticket for this back in December because they were on sale. I knew I was going to go there. And I know from working with cons that, the earlier buy your tickets helps them plan out for guessing things. So I want to support the show. So, yeah, I'm paying my money. I was an attendee. So thank you, Buzz. But maybe some other con you can get me in free.
Yeah.
But so I want to support the con. I love the con so much. And it was great. I did a little bit of shopping. I actually have a few things here. I have, let's see. I went off list
He went off list, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
he
that's
went
dangerous.
off list.
Because I thought I had these books, and I saw them cheap enough, so they're up for grabs for anyone in the studio who wants them. Well, on the phone, Adam. The illustrated indexes to Millennium, issues 1 and 2.
I didn't even know they had
Wow.
them.
Ah,
I've never
see?
seen those before.
I actually-
Fancy. It's like an archaeological find.
Wow.
Do you want them, Shane?
If they don't want them, I'll take them. I love that story.
All right,
I didn't
well,
like how it ended, but I thought it was a great
Right,
story.
because the ICG indexes, I have them for Crisis.
I have Crisis.
I've got them for
I've got
some
some for
Hawkman,
Teen
some Teen
Titans.
Titans, some Legionnaires. I think now they didn't do the Mahatma ones, but they did the DC ones. I
Yeah.
think like Mark Waid was involved with these at some point.
Wow.
So Murray Gold, so it's good stuff. But I looked at them and said, I don't think I have these. Turns out I did have them. So Shane, here you go. Issues 1 and
Oh my
2
God.
of Millennium Illustrated Index.
Again, I didn't like how this story ended, but I really had a great time reading the story. That story comes up later in another episode for me, I think.
So, and then so going through the back issues, it's a plethora down there for like dollar books and less. And of course, there's some better high grade and other stuff. But again, I went off list because I saw these in a dollar bin. I wasn't sure I had them. Turns out I did. Issues 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the 70s Steel, the Indestructible Man.
Wow.
So I don't know. Adam, do you have these issues?
I'm pretty sure I've got a complete run.
Okay, because it didn't last long. I think it was only like 6 issues or whatever. Well,
Yeah.
they'll stay here in the studio anyway, so
Let me see
I'm
that.
going to pass them on to
I know I don't have them.
Shane. And also, when I go to these shows, I get lists to look for things. Like Matt gave me a list, and actually Adam gave me a list of things to look for. And Adam, I found a few things for you.
Nice.
Okay, great.
From the dollar bins, I found issues 13, 14, 17, and 21 of Godzilla from Marvel Comics.
For a buck. Oh,
Or a
great.
buck each. So I think that completes your run, does it not?
I think so, yeah.
Yes. So they're waiting here for you in the studio, as well as for $1, issue 38 of the New Teen Titans Volume 2, guest starring Infinity
Bless
Inc.
you, Brian.
Wow.
You freed me to continue and hopefully finish reading through my run of Infinity Inc., because that is a crossover with Infinity Inc.
Yep.
And I stalled out in the fall of last year when I realized that I couldn't keep going with my reading until I read that darn crossover. And I haven't been able to find it any place. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. So again, I just loved going through the back. And I found a lot of, recent-ish books that I didn't have for right now, like some Rebirth books of Batman and Superman, since I wasn't really keeping up on that stuff currently. But yeah, as well as the shopping down there, and we mentioned the guests, the panels down there are just knocked me out. So I went to the Inkwell Awards panel Friday afternoon. And the Inkwell Awards are just I guess you probably wouldn't know. They're about comic book inkers. Bob Almond, as well, you know, Chris, one of your...
I've bought many pages from the man.
Yes. A lot of Black Panther stuff.
He's going to be at the show I'm doing this weekend. Actually.
Yes. We'll get to that in a minute.
Indeed.
He started the Inkwell Awards a while ago with a lot of help backers. Joe Stinnett is a big backer of this. And it's celebrating and recognizing comicdom's finest inkers. And they had an awards ceremony at Heroes Con because the Eisner Awards actually dropped inking awards several years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
So I always like going to this, and it's not very well attended down at Heroes Con. There might have been maybe 20, 30 people at the panel there. And actually it was a long panel because it was more like an award show. But they had guest speaker, Joe Giella was a guest speaker there. And I won't run down all the list of awards there, but as they were reading off the nominees, I'm thinking, I bet I knew who won because I see the person in the audience was there. Like, for instance, there's Eric Larson. So Eric Larson was there, Jerry Ordway, Scott Hanna, Jonathan Glapion, and, all winning some awards. And then they were up there on the panel and had a Q&A, and then it just divulged in this whole discussion among themselves, and it went on and on and on, and you didn't really want it to stop because it was just gold up there. And now I believe they did record it for their own purposes, the Inkwell Awards. But, the panel ran almost to like an hour and a half, or 45 minutes. And I'm looking at my watch, and the show was almost over. But it was fine because it was just great hearing them talk about their craft and just talk about comics and editors and, stories. And it was just a hoot and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just, there's just so much history down there at these HeroesCon panels, and this was one of them. I was happy I went to it. I think Adam went to the last couple of them, right, Adam?
Oh, yes, I was with you at the last couple, yes. You mentioned Scott Hanna.
Yes.
Did he win anything?
He did. Gosh, I should look up what he won, quite frankly, but...
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I did look at the Inkwell. I think I got an email about it, actually, the Inkwell Awards. And so I did take a moment to look at the nominees, and I did see that his name was up for a couple of awards this year, and he is one of my very favorite inkers. So,
yeah, he actually won for favorite inker, as well as the props for inker deserving of more attention. So he actually won 2 Inkwell Awards.
Well, I've been doing my bit to give him that more attention for the last several years, so I'm glad it's official now.
Yeah, so that was cool for Friday. And again, I do have some shout-out lists, so I'm just sort of going all over the place here because my notes are, well, you know me, I can't necessarily read all my notes. And then Saturday, some of the panels Saturday. I had to make some Sophie's Choice type decisions on what panels to go to. I mean, I exaggerate. Saturday at 11 o'clock, they had a Jim Steranko panel and a Tomorrow's panel.
I go Tomorrow's. That's an easy choice.
I went to Tomorrow's panel.
Yeah,
and actually Wayne went to Steranko and admitted to me later on that I made the right choice. I loved Steranko actually spoke a year or two ago at the Inkwell Awards about Dan Atkins, and it was great because I'd never heard, of course, he's a Reading native,
right?
And I'd never really heard him speak before, and it was riveting. But I went to Tomorrow's panel instead, and actually from what Wayne told me, he was talking about rock and roll music at his panel for a while, so I'm glad I went to the Tomorrow's panel. But it was Tomorrow's panel with moderated by Eric Nolan Wellington, with Roy Thomas talking about Alter Ego, and Michael Urie talking about back issue. And quite frankly,
Shane, you were unison there.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
if you're at a convention where Roy Thomas is on a panel, you go to that panel.
Ooh.
Now, they talked about that he talks 90 miles a minute, but he's 50-plus years in the business.
Yep.
He was there. He was like right behind Stan Lee at Marvel.
1965.
And worked with DC, and the stories he has, and I wish I could retell some of the jokes. He told a couple of jokes talking about Fu Manchu and how his involvement with the whole...
Sax Romer, licensed Master of Kung Fu.
Master of Kung Fu. There was a whole story about him, Carmen Infantino. But listening to Michael Urie and Roy Thomas talking about their respective books with Tomorrow Publishing, Alter Ego is more about the Golden Age and Silver Age, and back issue is more Bronze, Copper Age, talking about publishing, creators, fandom, and they were talking about their plan, like almost the next year and a half, their next publishing history, and I'm like, amazing.
Any
stuff.
interesting morsels you want to share with us?
If I would have been taking notes and had a memory like a steel trap like Murd does, I would have recited them to you verbatim. But
That's all right. I look forward to being surprised.
But there's some great stuff coming up. And also at 11:30, there was actually an original art panel. I just skipped that because I wanted to go see Roy Thomas talk.
Yeah,
and it was well worth it.
Roy Thomas is one of my hero creators, both as a fundamentally important comic book writer, but also as an archivist and an historian through his work in Alter Ego. And he's someone who I've always wanted to meet and just shake his hand, get him to sign my Roy Thomas deluxe hardcover Marvel release some years back. I have yet to be at a show that he's been at. So,
I mean,
that's a goal.
With him and Jerry Bales starting Alter Ego back in the 60s and their work, behind the scenes, with, talk with Gardner Fox about Justice League, and just they were there, not there at the beginning of fandom, but they were one of the biggest fans of comics, started the fanzines, and his stories are great. So later on Saturday, there was a 4 o'clock panel and a 4:30 panel. Had a little bit. Now, this is the 4 o'clock panel I did not go to, and this was really tough. Jose Garcia Lopez and Lee Weeks are going to draw and talk live, and you get a raffle ticket to possibly win the art they're drawing there.
Wow.
I skipped that panel because I didn't want to leave early, because at 4:30, All-Star Squadron panel. Roy Thomas, Jerry Ordway, and Arvell Jones,
Wow.
moderated by Michael Urie. And this one, I believe, was recorded to be transcribed in a future edition of Back Issue Magazine.
They do that sometimes. Pants, as far as I'm concerned, you made the right choice.
That was, I mean...
That's a tough one.
Granted, Jose Garcia, Lee Weeks, 3 artwork podcast, I had to go to this All-Star Squadron panel. And I'm so glad I did, because I was at a panel in Connecticut 2 years ago with Roy Thomas
I remember you mentioned
and
that,
Drew Orway talking about All-Star Squadron, and
Wow.
it's just amazing. And now, this is the panel, and I talk about this all the time. I have to go back now and dig out my All-Star Squadrons, my Infinity Inks, my Young All-Stars, start reading that stuff again, because I got so jazzed hearing them talk about the stories. Some of the stuff has been recounted before in things just like Modern Masters Jerry Ordway, because he was talking about, like, during his work on All-Star Squadron, he pitched a Huntress story. In 1985, he pitched a story pairing up the Huntress with newly acquired Nightshade. But when Helen Wayne died in Crisis, his story died along with her. I didn't know that. Now, of course, it's in the book, which I hadn't read, but Jerry was talking about that on the panel. They're talking now. Of course, Rich Buckler was supposed to be there as well, but of course, he passed away about a month before the con. So he would have been there talking about the story as well. And I didn't know that the first issue of All-Star Squadron, many of the pages got lost in FedEx. So Jerry Ordway was inking off of photocopies for, like, the first issue on vellum.
I didn't know that.
Again, a great story. And Michael Urie knew it was going to happen, but he also brought up to Roy Thomas, and Adam will appreciate this, about his thoughts on Crisis.
Oh, boy.
Hoo-hoo.
Adam,
Roy
are you aware of his
Roy
thoughts on
Thomas is very
Crisis, Adam?
I don't think he ever quite recovered from the blow.
Right. He was very diplomatic, but, he went through it.
He's
It was
professional, after all.
Yeah, he was very honest about how they were telling him one thing and doing another, but it was great to just be there and see that panel. And I had never met Arvell Jones. He worked on a lot of the later issues, and it turns out he mentioned in one of his other discussions that he really hasn't done cons in quite a while. And I was like, oh my God, there's Arvell Jones. I haven't seen him before. I didn't even know he was still, going to cons. So it was great to see him. So that was, no pun intended, an all-star panel. And I was like, and I'm so jazzed to start digging in my back issues again for that.
Wow.
So, God bless Heroes Con.
I should try to do that with you. I've never read all 3 of those series all the way through.
Really?
I have them all.
Oh, you also have to get just League of America 193.
I have that one.
Because it has a 16-page bonus, which started out.
Yeah.
But it's just, I'm sorry, I'm going on and on about how just...
Fancy, we love the enthusiasm.
Man, that panel, but those choices, but yeah, I think you made
But
the right one
I know I
there.
made the right choice in both of my panel decisions there. And then, of course, Saturday night they have the original art auction.
That's fun.
That's fun. Now, I didn't spend much time there because I really couldn't buy anything. And what that is people who go to the show either donate artwork or they draw things at the show to be auctioned off. Helps raise money to continue the con, bringing guests in with travel and so forth. So it's sort of a
Self-perpetuating.
pay it forward kind of thing. And the art is great, but I'm more of a published page kind of person, published comics, as opposed to getting some great artwork that I didn't really necessarily commission, but still some great pieces there. But before that started, Scott Shaw had a presentation. I'm sorry, Scott Shaw had a
You got
presentation.
to put the exclamation point on the end.
Of course, he of Captain Carrot and the Amazing Zoo Crew. He has a presentation he does at a Comic-Con every now and then called Oddball Comics,
Oh, yes.
where he was slides, and on a big screen, you see these, like, Silver Age covers, and it's just like, what the hell were they thinking? Just, all kinds of crazy, and again, a lot of Jimmy Olsen covers.
Of course.
Superman, Lois Lane covers. But there's, like, themes. Like, there's Batman covers where Robin's in the corner of all the issues and so forth. And now that was held in the panel room before the auction started. And it was a big room, and people were talking aloud, and I only really could hear clearly the first half of the presentation, but it was still great to see the covers go up there, because he was commentating on it as it was going on. And some of these covers, you wouldn't necessarily think twice about looking through them in a back issue bin. But when he puts them on a big screen, and does a commentary on them, and you're thinking, oh, my God. I'll give you an example. I will never again, and I'll show it to you, and you can pull it up on your screen, and you can do it at home, you listeners, and, of course, Adam. Adventure Comics, number 420. On the big screen, take a look at that cover.
What number is it?
Magnificent.
420. I think he said that this is a Joe Orlando inspired cover, and it said, sex sells. That's all I'm going to say about that. And it's like, I can't look at it the same way again when he...
That is terrific.
Yeah.
Suffice it to say, I haven't had to say about that. It's just...
Speaking of that, Shane, would you hand me whatever the most recent Overstreet guide is behind you?
Sure.
Oh, my God. So that was a great presentation. And, of course, they raised a lot of money to bring folks back again next year. And Sunday, I had to leave early because I needed to get back home. But there was another great panel. Unfortunately, I missed this panel on Sunday. Listen to this panel. Modern Masters. Hosted by Eric Nolan Wellington. This is the panelists. Jerry Ordway, Alan Davis, and Lee Weeks.
Oh, wow.
But it was late in the day, and I needed to get home, so I had to skip that panel.
Because sometimes you do stay till Monday.
Sometimes I do, but I needed to work on Monday, so actually I made it home in 8.5 hours.
Oh, my God.
North Carolina. Leadfoot. Okay, what are you looking up there, Chris?
Well, if we want to talk about the theme of sex-suggestive covers, one of the all-time greats, we all no doubt remember the 80s cheesy classic Alf on television.
Yes. Okay.
Now, Marvel did a comic adaptation. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me see if they noted here. Okay, issue 48.
Okay.
Now, the Overstreet description is risque Alf with seal cover.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I want to keep this relatively family-oriented, so all I'll say is...
Oh, my God.
Those listening at home, just pull this cover up online. Now, there's a Commerce Code seal of approval on that cover.
It sure is.
It is one of the most hilariously sex-suggestive covers I've ever seen in comics. And the fact that it's Alf just makes it all the sweeter.
And Alf is saying, so hurry up already. It's like, oh, my God.
Have you guys ever seen that cover?
I have never seen that cover.
I didn't even know Alf got to 48 issues.
It got to 50 issues, actually. Wow. 50 exactly.
My goodness.
Wow.
So
there's my little public service announcement for lewdness for the day.
I do have a couple of shout-outs I want to mention. So I was staying at the hotel there, and I guess it was Friday morning. I was headed down to the con. Again, I was relaxing, like around 9:30, 12%, like around 11. And getting on the elevator, somebody else in front of me getting on the elevator on my floor, and we're just, the door opens, and we're sort of like, oh, you first, no, you first. So we're just, we talking, and we went on, both going to the same place. And when I said that, he goes, well, I like your show. I'm like, ooh, what show? What are you talking? So I recognized my voice, and his name was Chuck, and met him on the elevator. So listeners just, by my voice, recognized me. Gosh, who else was I? I was writing to Chris Calloway from, oh my God, the podcast. I can't, it's escaping me right now. A friend Josh, who Adam and I saw down at Alex Rock signing in Virginia. He's usually also always at Baltimore. I got to hang out with him. Thank God he put up with me because there are a few times. Usually I'm pretty quiet, when I go out. But we got started talking about Letterman.
Oh.
And I wouldn't shut up. And that's one of the rare topics. So he was fine with it because he's a big fan of Letterman as well. So we talked about that. Ran into Stuart McMillan.
All right.
It was good to see Stuart again. And he had a nice experience. I think it was Saturday morning. He was reading one of Kelly Suda comics. I forget which one he was reading. And he put it down and left the breakfast place. And there she was coming in. So we got to immediately talk to her right away. So I love your book. So that's the kind of thing. It's just people keep walking in and out.
Yeah.
Also want to mention, talk about Jerry Ordway. He had one of the hugest lines.
Good.
At their as did Kelly Suda Comic and Matt Fraction.
Wow.
Oh God, Alan Davis had a huge line. Jim Steranko had a huge line. Just seeing all Jason Aaron, just seeing these creators have huge lines just like warmed the cockles of my heart because it wasn't a celebrity show. It was more just about the celebrities were the creators, the comic creators, artists and writers. Now I see this guy every year, Jeremy. I forget his name, but his daughter was there this year, and we were talking, and now they're telling me about all these new TV shows I should be watching or I should be streaming. Like we talked about. Oh God, what is that? I wrote it down here somewhere. Black Mirror. They told me I need to watch Black Mirror. I think that's on Netflix. I need to watch Expanse going on. And I was like, guys, stop it with the TV shows and everything. I'm already back. Oh, and I re-met the anonymous art donor who gave us some prizes for Muddle the Bird, Adam. Of course, he didn't tell me his name.
Oh, he didn't even tell you his
name?
No.
That's
Fantastic.
That's very nice.
Need to respect his anonymity.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Right. Oh, God. Justin from Kentucky, Robert Knoxville, Chris Doherty, the Hardins. I run into the Hardins, Adam.
Get out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in years.
Yeah, James and Jim. They were up from Florida.
Oh.
Yep.
Lucky bugger.
And, of course, Big John Marcy, Marble Man on the forums.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of Sam and his wife, who we met down at the Alex Ross signing. And Big John was very kind. He had a couple of gifts. He was going to get for you, Shane, the Booster Beetle 2-pack.
Oh,
had it not been canceled, he was going to get that for you. So he was thinking of you.
Well, I
Chris,
thank
I'm
you for thinking
sorry,
of me.
nothing for you.
That's fine.
But he got for me.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Super Weird Heroes by Craig Yo.
That's a pretty crazy cover, too.
Yep.
Yes, my nominee for Best Comics-Related Publication of
That's
2016.
Right.
So I have a copy of that for my very own. And Adam, he got for you. Are you sitting down?
Yes, I am. Indian style.
The hardcover of the complete phonogram.
Oh, Kieran Gillen and Jamie McKelvey.
Yep.
Oh, my, I've been wanting to read that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, because you mentioned on one of the episodes that you were going to hold out for the trade, but he said, no. Again, so we got you the hardcover. So I have that for you here as well as the other dollar issues for you.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's a very generous gift indeed.
Yeah, so that was very kind. I was out Sunday morning for breakfast at the Red Eye Diner, which is because it's tough to find places to eat down there because it's like everything closes on the weekend because it's the business center of town. So I found a 24-hour diner. It's great. I went there, had a nice breakfast every morning, and I was going in Sunday and met some listeners. And said hi, how you doing? I sat at the counter. They were sitting back, and my bill comes in. The waitress goes, "Your bill's taken care of." I'm like, what? They bought my breakfast for me. So I went over and I thanked them very nicely. So this meeting to listeners, it's so sometimes very, I can't put in words how much it means to me, those kind of things like that.
That's nice.
Little gestures like that. It's unnecessary, but it's
it's
very,
good to know
very nice.
people are out there and listening and enjoying what they're doing.
One of our listeners, I think it was... oh God! If I don't remember name was, I think it was Guy. Adam, he showed me some artwork he got. He actually went to Ty Templeton, who was there, and got a sketch of the Scarecrow and Mad Hatter. Ooh. And he showed it to me. I said, "Oh, that's awesome!" And I go, "Yeah," because Adam's a big Mad Hatter fan. And he goes, "Oh, well, here, give him this." He gave me the pencil prelims to give to you, Adam.
Wow. What did he give you? The pencil?
The pencil prelims for his sketch.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm pretty fond of the Scarecrow, too, come to think of it. So,
and that's a great prelim.
So I have that.
Thank you, Guy or Guy? Or...
I'm sorry. So I have that prelim for you there, Adam.
Oh, got all kinds of lucre waiting for me back at the studio right now.
Yeah, you better get it before I give it away. And I almost forgot, I want to give a big shout-out thank you to Rod Hendrick, who lives down in North Carolina, and actually was my roommate when I go out to Los Angeles for Gallifrey 1. He was very kind to step in and be my roommate when Adam dropped out. So thank you very much, Rod. It was great to see you and hang out with you, and thank you for helping me out there with the room. But yeah, just a wonderful time down there. I wish I could have stayed longer. I plan to go back again next year, and pretty much every year I possibly can. And I don't mind driving down there. As you can see, I can get down there in half hours. But I definitely want to go again next year to see the new store and just see who they bring again next year, because they're always bringing creators from all eras. Like I've never seen Joe Gill at a show before. It was great to see. Now, Adam, let's see if I can. Where do I have this list here? Let's see where. Okay. So what's the names, Adam? Let's see. Here we go. Here, Ron Randall, Joe Rubenstein, John Toddleben, and who's the other one here? Arvell Jones. What do they have all in common, Adam?
It's like a muddle the bird moment.
Well, I think they've all worked for DC at one time or another, but I don't know what you're driving at, Brian. Go ahead and tell me.
They, along with Alan Davis and Joe Gill, have now signed our bound edition of DC's Who's Who.
All right. Well, then, I was right. They all worked for DC.
Yes. Yeah, it was great to just go around and get this thing signed. And, of course, Bill Sienkiewicz also was supposed to be, he did not make it, so we had him sign it as well. But it's good to go around and get this signed up. There's now 31 signatures on the DC Who's Who book we have bound in the studio.
It's a well-traveled library binding.
It certainly is. All right.
You did me a solid.
I did?
At Heroes, too. Yeah.
I did? What did I do for you?
You found Justice League Archives volume that I was missing, and Justice League number 75, I think it was, that I have been looking for a while and didn't want to pay through the nose for. A good reader copy with a solid cover, so that was super duper appreciated.
Oh, hey, you're very welcome.
It's fantastic.
Now, Adam said he can't necessarily hear the music, so we'll see how this goes here.
I can guess what music's playing right now.
You would be guessing right.
Yes, I can read the context fairly well.
All right. So once again, it's time for an episode installment of Muddle and Murd, our trivia segment. And this now is with bonus material. Up for grabs in this, for now, again, from our anonymous art donor, if you Muddle the Murd, is a print of the Private Eye, signed and numbered by Marcos Martin.
Wow.
Oh my!
Now to go along with
book.
that, our friend Wayne Mousseau donated some of the things he got at HeroesCon. He donated also the Heroes Convention print of Telos with Mike Wieringo, Casey Jones, and Rico Renzi working on it, as well as his prize from the Inkwell Awards. This is an 11x17 full bleed color print. It depicts Merle Dixon from The Walking Dead. It was rendered and signed by Michael Golden.
Wow.
So Michael Golden signed prints, so all those prints could be yours if you Muddle the Murd. You ready?
You reminded me of Rod Roddy finishing his description of a final showcase from the Showcase show.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
I've watched way too much TV as a
Pants
child.
has been a great game show.
I love The Price is Right.
All right. Well, okay.
All right, so who's our lucky contestant
Our lucky
here?
contestant is Jason Keene. He goes, hello again.
Oh.
Yes. From Matazanis High School.
That's right. You know, he told me a while ago that he was going to consult the high school students that make up his comic book club down there, some of his students,
Nice.
and ask them to come up with some questions for me. So I'm assuming that's what we're looking at right here and right now.
Here it is. Hello again, guys. This time, rather than sending questions for myself, these come from the members of Matazanis High School's comic book club. Go easy on them. Question number 1, Marvel, 2001 to the present. What is the real name of the Blue Ear?
The Blue Ear?
Yes.
Okay, well, he told me that his students are pretty hopped up on Deadpool and Harley Quinn, so I'm assuming the Blue Ear is a Deadpool supporting character. Didn't know such a character existed. Irving Forbush.
Good guess.
No, Dr. Pedro Perez.
Marvel alliteration.
All right. Question 2, Image, 1970 to 2000. Which ancient culture is a part of the Shadowhawk mythos?
I'm going to say the Incas.
The Egyptians.
All right. 0 for 2.
Now, this one could be in your wheelhouse.
Well, the process of elimination, it's DC prior to 1970.
That is correct. Name at least 2 of the nicknames given to the original members of Challengers of the Unknown, who are Kyle Morgan, Matthew Ryan, Leslie Davis, and Walter Mark Haley. Any 2 of their nicknames?
Okay, Prof and Red. The other 2 are Ace and Rocky, of course.
Yes.
Without any hesitation.
Yes. Kyle Ace Morgan, Matthew Red Ryan, Leslie Rocky Davis, Walter Mark Prof Haley. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jason, and your comic book club, but you were not muddled.
Yep, I don't feel like I really needed to go easy on them either there, Jason.
So the Prince...
Pretty good questions in there. They really, if anything, they were too easy on me. They should have asked, what are the real given names of Prof, Ace, Rocky, and Red, because I'm not sure I would have known them. In fact, I'm sure I didn't.
Interesting. All right. So what else we got on the docket today, gentlemen? Anything else?
Let's talk about...
Oh, I had something else, but you go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Okay.
I'm on a roll. I know.
Well, I had this segue, and I let it slip when we're talking about Looney Tunes, about recent comics. I recently picked up, some spoilers perhaps, Batman and Elmer Fudd.
I didn't get that yet.
So I'm not sure what's wrong with me, because I let this go by and didn't order it. You know, I should know better. Well, first of all, it was $4.99, I guess, and I think I sort of poo-pooed the idea of like Looney Tunes and the superheroes is like Bugs Bunny.
But it's Tom King and Lee Weeks.
Right,
so.
but you know, like because there was a Bugs Bunny with the lead superheroes. There's a Tasmanian Devil and Lobo. Like there was Martian Manhunter and the Marvin Martian,
Space Ghost, and Green Lantern.
Yeah, but Batman Elmer Fudd, I said, guys, but of course, it's Tom King with Lee Weeks, and this thing. I'm not going to swear, but it's effing fantastic. Dear sweet God, the first story is 30 pages.
Jeez.
Wow.
It's got a noirish feel. It's not silly. There's caricatures of the Looney Tunes people in there. You know, like Yosemite Sam, Sylvester and Tweety. You know, Porky as like real humans, and it's centered around a female character in Batman's history who you don't really see too much about anymore, and it's a great story, and there's just some great Lee Weeks artwork. And by the way, so I'm down at Heroes Con, and of course Lee Weeks recognizes me. And so we're chatting and so forth, and you know he's just a sweet guy, a tremendous talent. He asks about, hey, you guys are gonna do another Super Show. It's like, oh boy, Lee, I would love to, because he had a great time at Super Show.
Yeah.
And like these creators who talk to me about this, it just breaks my heart, because it's like it was so much fun, but it was a lot of work to do, and it's like there's so many cons going on right now. I don't think have our little show.
Maybe as we approach our 2000th episode, we can think of something.
Don't put that on the record there.
Could be something small. You never know.
But just what a great book, and I should have known better with Tom King and Lee Weeks. And then the second thing is an 8-page just slapstick story written by Tom King, sort of in the line of the rabbit season, duck season thing with Batman in it. And it's like, it's a laugh riot. And it's like, when I heard about it on like the Facebook, I said, I got to go buy it. So I bought the book. I paid $5 for it, and it was worth it.
You know, that's high praise, because most books when you charge you $5, it's not worth it. And that's high praise, Pants.
And I should have known better with anyway. So, Chris, You had something you wanted.
Well, I wanted to mention the weekend you were in Heroes Con, we did a big back issue sale.
Oh, that's on my list here. Yes,
I did make it to that.
And Shane, of course, I was honored when your august presence graced my threshold there.
I get to help finish off, fill in some stock. That was
Nice.
fun.
And your help of that last hour was
Oh,
invaluable.
God,
Thank you.
That was nothing.
But so it went very well, and it went so well that, let me rephrase that. It went well, but we have so much stuff. We're having another sale
because you had
later this month.
You had 40,000 books.
I'll talk more about that in a moment with a different twist on it. But a lot of listeners came in.
Good.
And unfortunately, Pants, because in the hurry up of this, I didn't write anybody's names down. And I apologize for that. One gentleman, I'm going to butcher your last name because it's in my poor middle-aged memory now, but Paul Fenzel, forgive me, sir, for mispronouncing that. Hell of a nice guy. He bought a Wonder Woman wall book. He really praised the show. And bless him, he bought out almost my entire run of Warlord, which is one of the hardest back issues ever to sell. Not because it's bad, just people don't seem like Warlord. He bought almost all. Thank you, sir. But there were many listeners that came in. Again, I apologize because all the names have escaped me. But it's like you, Pants, it's so nice to meet people who really appreciate what we do here.
And they don't have to be nice,
No.
but they are.
No, yeah.
They can say, hey, you schmuck out of my way and go for the back issue.
Yep, and they take the time to introduce themselves and comment on the show. And I know I speak for us all, as you were before, how much we appreciate that. But it was great to do an event that was just so back-centered. Because, look, the name of the game is with a store today is you have to do a lot of other things, gaming and Magic and Dungeons & Dragons. I don't mean to sound exhausted when I say that, but it is all kind of exhausting when that's not really your primary passion.
Yeah.
And I have other people who help me with that stuff. But it was nice to have a day or a weekend where it was just about comics. Because it's difficult to do that in the business now on a regular basis. It was heartwarming to see a lot of people come out for that purpose. And it went very well. And I'm going to segue from that because we have so many books now. I mean, our back area where we have an open area for gaming, just the whole wall is just lined with towers of long boxes still. So on Saturday, July 22nd, special hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're doing a Build-A-Box event. So what that means is that everything in the store will start at 20% off. That means the wall books, the sticker back issues, the 50-cent books, the used trades, the excess pops we have, the toys, everything. But if you buy a short box for $2.50, and the only thing that doesn't apply, wall books are excluded. They're only 20%, but you can fill that short box up with anything you want, whether it's Toon Tumblers, whether it's toys, whether it's trades, whether it's comics or a combination. Everything in that short box is 30% off. If you buy a long box for $5 and you fill it up with anything you want, excluding wall books, everything in that box is 40% off. Now, again, we have tens of thousands of back issues still in stock. Like, I don't even need to buy that much for this because we have so much stuff. I don't have space. We want to get stuff out of there, all right? So if you came to the sale or even if you didn't make it, believe me, there's still plenty of stuff to go through. So don't think like I went, there's nothing else to look at. That's not true. There's no way you could have seen everything. So, and if you missed it, here's your chance to come in again. Again, base 20% off on everything, and our stuff is below guide as it is, so that's a good deal right off the bat. And then on top of that, build a short box for $2.50, get 30% off. Build a long box for $5, get 40% off those contents. So that's July 22nd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'll be there.
That's awesome.
So that's Bill's idea, by the way. He came up with the idea of the Build-A-Box. We've done Build-A-Box before, but this is a little more, not complicated, but there's more to it. It's more generous. So
more math.
Yeah. So there's more options. So because I think sometimes people feel intimidated, like I can't fill up a box. Yes, you can. And with the amount of stuff we're going to have and the discounts we're offering, and hell, you can put I'm going to put 10 Toon Tumblers in my box. There, you're done. Okay. So we're doing that on Saturday, July 22nd. And let's talk about the show in Morristown this weekend.
The Garden State Comic Fest.
Yep.
Now, was this at the hockey arena?
Yes.
The roller
ice rink. Yep.
Well, yeah, I've been there before.
Yep.
This is in Morristown. This is happening this Saturday.
And Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
Yep.
July 8th and July 9th. And, Chris, you're setting up there. Now,
Yep.
Are you a first-time exhibitor?
I am a first-time vendor. Now, I'm doing the show because my dear friend Ryan, who you all in the room know, he's been to it. He said it had a great turnout, and some of my fellow comic book dealers I know, like my old friend John Paul of NewJerseyComicBookShows.com, my old friend Mike Williams is a longtime comic dealer. They've done the show. They did really well at it, and they said it's very comic oriented. And since I got back into wall books, one of the reasons I got back into selling wall books, besides my love of them, is that, frankly, if you want to do, let's say, a one of these larger shows, you can't afford the space unless you bring wall books, because the spaces are not cheap, especially in the New York, New Jersey area. So I've got a full wall, so I'm ready to go, and I'll be bringing, a wide variety of back issues. I'll be bringing used trades. I'll be bringing tune tumblers. Everything will be discounted. But I'm really looking forward to this event because I haven't done a show this big in a long time. So, and it's local.
Yeah.
And it's got a great guest list. I'm going to get a Tom Palmer sketch, damn it, if I can.
I've been to the show. I think it was 2 years ago, and it was pretty nice. Now, of course, they have the celebrities there, but listen to these celebrities: John Wesley Shipp, Dean Cain,
These are comic-oriented celebrities, yeah.
Lauren Lester. Oh my goodness! And then you have the comic guests, and this is just Adam Kubert. I'm going to go alphabetical. Adam Kubert. Let's see who else we got here. Barry Kitson, Billy Tucci, Bob Allman, as you mentioned.
Yep.
Bob Wyacek, who has not, as of yet, signed the book here.
The book.
Bud Root, Buzz is going to be there. Chris Batista, Colleen Doran, who has also not signed the book. I'm probably going to be going there Saturday if I can work. David Finch. Oh God, Greg Hildebrandt. Jan Gersema, who has signed the book. Jim Calafiore, Joe Staten, who has signed the book as well.
Joe Staten was a Super Show guest.
Yep. Keith Giffen, who has not signed the book. And actually, I want to talk to Keith Giffen if I get a chance, because I want to tell him how much I loved Sugar and Spike, which I did. And actually, I forgot to mention, Josh, down at Heroes Con, gave me a copy of the DC Silver Age Classics. When they were closing up, I guess, the Sparta, Illinois plant, they did one last run of reprinting some classic comics. They were printing like Action Comics 252, Detective Comics, I think, 255. And they printed, for the very first time, Sugar and Spike number 99. It was never released, so they gave me a copy of that. And I did not have it, so thank you very much for that, Josh. I want to mention that. The Simonsons, Walter and Louise Simonson will be there. Mark McKenna.
Good old Mark.
Neil Vokes, Robert Atkins, Scott Hanna will be there. My goodness, who else we got here? Tom Mandrake, Tom Palmer, Tom Rainey, V. Marion. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to go out there and at least get 3 more autographs on the book, and maybe, some back issues. And so maybe I might see you there, Chris.
Honored, brother. I may need someone to spell me so I can go to the bathroom. I'm doing it by myself, so.
Oh, well, I'd be happy to look over your books while you're not there. You can trust me, right?
Oh, look how Pants tries to act like he's like a shady character. It's impossible. Come on.
He almost twirled his mustache.
Now, I'm sorry if I've monopolized the conversation. If you guys have anything else you want to bring up, please, now's the time. Because I got more stuff if you're not going to say anything.
Shane.
Okay, let me throw something in here then.
Yay.
You remember some time ago a package arrived at the studio for me containing some issues of Marvel's new universe title, Cyforce?
Yes.
Right, and I said that there was more new universe stuff on its way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out I was mistaken. That the package that arrived was the package I was expecting. I was just thrown off because it was from a sender other than the one I was expecting. I have the box right here. Joey Yee is the name that appeared on the box, but it turns out it was actually sent by a longtime listener and good friend of ours, Christopher Beckett. And so he is the one he's my new universe benefactor here. He just, Joey Yee was just like an eBay vendor out in Washington State with whom Chris says. So this isn't even a case of Chris sending me copies of Cyforce he had sitting around. This is him going out of his way to actually purchase issues of Cyforce online and send them to me so that I can read them. Wow. So credit needs to be placed where credit is due, and tremendous thanks as well. Thank you very much, Chris, for sponsoring my exploration of this peculiar little evolutionary cul-de-sac of Marvel's publishing history that is the new universe. I've been given to understand there's some pretty good stories in there, and I'm going to be adding these Cyforce issues to the little queue of older runs of material that I've been working my way through, including Infinity Inc. and Marvel's Godzilla, and now Cyforce is being added to that as well. So I will read that, and I will report back to Chris and everybody else out there in CGS land who would like to know what I think of these 30-year-old Marvel experimental comics. Cyforce.
God, 30 years. That's terrible. Jeez.
I want to throw in a little TV talk. I'll try to be non-spoilers as I can. Chris, are you caught up with the current Twin Peaks?
I am 2 episodes behind.
Oh.
I'm still working my way through the original Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Okay, can I say one thing?
You can say
the
one
last
thing.
episode, because we'll spoil a little bit then. Is that all right?
You've been forewarned, yes,
Okay.
listeners.
So the last episode I watched was the one. It's the 7th episode. Pants. By the end of it, I have to admit, I was nearly in tears because it was. And I've been really digging what Lynch is doing because I had faith that he would start to build. And in the 7th episode, I was like, okay, I really feel like I'm watching Twin Peaks. Like, he starts to bring everything together. When Cooper takes down the little person assassin.
Yeah.
And you start...
Instinct kicked in.
You see the instinct, and you start to see where this is all going. And when they bring out the missing pages from Laura Palmer's diary.
Oh, my God, yes.
And,
Well,
and
two of the three.
and two of them. And they bring back Warren Frost before he died in real life as the doctor on Skype, which was a great touch. And he's talking about his English muffins. Like, I got so excited because I'm probably going to watch one tonight when I get home because I'm too behind. But
okay. Well,
am I correct in saying it's really starting to build now towards...
Well, the latest episode, I think, was episode 8. And, it was extremely... WTF is what I got to say. Honest to God, you're watching it. There's a continuation, I think, of the earlier episode, and then for the last 45 minutes, it's like you go back to the atomic blast in 1945, and
I can't wait.
It's weird. There's very little dialogue.
Okay.
There's just some weird stuff going on, and I was just like almost, does he want me to turn the TV off? Is that what he's trying to do here? But I stuck with it, and I'm not sure what I just watched exactly. But it's like, so maybe maybe we'll see you Saturday. We can talk about it Saturday, and it's like, I'm looking at it, it's like,
well,
what did I just watch? I lost an hour of my life
was
now.
Was there not an episode this past Sunday?
There was not.
Okay, so I've only missed one then.
Yes.
Okay. Because the episode I watched, here's the other reason why I was so moved by it. Laura Dern.
Oh, my God, yes.
When she goes into that prison, I think she should get an Emmy. Because her performance...
Yeah, how about Diane? We met Diane finally.
It's...
Oh, my God. Why am I shouting and gesticulating like this? I don't know.
My favorite... I'm a huge fan of the late Miguel Ferrer's Albert character.
Oh, yes.
And I just thought that episode, which is the 7th one, and I'm not surprised Lynch went totally off the deep end in the next one, because that just makes sense. Because this episode was, in many ways, the most linear and concrete, like what was happening in it. And but it was so moving and powerful when she confronted the doppelganger. And by the way, McLachlan's acting in this show, I mean, think about all the things he has to do in this show. I mean, it's tremendous. So I'm very much looking forward to the mind fudge in episode 8.
Oh my God! Just prepare yourself.
But I think you have to be patient.
You got to be patient.
Yeah, you got to stay with it.
Holy cow! Do you got to be patient? Dear sweet God. I'm going to keep going here because I did something that I fought for the longest time. I actually subscribe to HBO now.
Okay.
Wow.
I never have. I don't know how I saw. I think I
When
read
did HBO
it.
start? 1978, 79.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was a subscriber from my parents and
I'm
through
a little
the
behind the
80s and
curve,
stuff.
but I've rented some of the DVDs of like I've seen all of Larry Sanders Show. I love
that's
Larry.
amazing.
I've seen all.
That was amazing.
I've seen all Sopranos, but I got them off the
Fantastic.
DVDs for that. And I had seen up to season 5 of Game of
I'm
Thrones
starting that this summer.
through all the DVDs.
Never watched it.
So, in about a week and a half from now, Series 7 starts. So I said, well, I got to watch Season 6. So I watched Season 6 over 2 nights.
Oh my god. Jeez.
So I'm caught up with that now.
How many episodes is that?
10 hours.
All right.
That's not terrible.
Yeah.
I got nothing going on in my life right now. Not a single thing. When I'm not working, I'm in front of the TV, or I'm reading a comic, or I'm sleeping. That's it. Why am I yelling? But anyway, so
He's been pent up for over
So
2
I
years.
subscribe to that, and then of course you with your subscription you get the HBO Go and you get
Yeah.
the HBO On Demand. So I'm going down the On Demand, and I'm like, okay, there's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Now, I've seen a lot of those on the
Funny
DVDs. Okay,
show.
that's that.
That's a funny show.
Okay, of course there's Larry Sanders. Oh, there's Leftovers. I hear good things about that.
I haven't seen that.
Christopher Eccleston was in that. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I keep going down. Oh, there's Westworld. I've heard good things about that.
That I want to see.
Then they have The Wire.
Oh, The Wire's...
I've never seen frame 1 of The Wire, but even Brian Deemer said it's like the best show in the history of TV, and it's like, it's right there for me. So I'm not going to be on the show for the next 4 months. I'm just going to be watching HBO and Showtime and reading my back issues.
I've watched the first 3 seasons of The Wire. I haven't watched the last 2 yet. I agree with Brian. It's probably the greatest television show I've ever seen.
So I'm looking forward to that and
Wow.
crazy stuff. Now, can we talk a little Doctor Who, Shane?
I've finished the whole season.
I don't want to get into too much details, but they finished up the latest series, and what ticked me off is that I saw some spoilers months ago that John Sim was back as the Master.
I did see that spoiler.
I saw that, and I saw a hint about who would be in the Christmas special we saw at the end of the
too.
episode, and it's
Yeah.
like, God damn it, why these freaking people? And now somebody else, a Facebook friend of ours who we've met in person, posted a link about somebody else who's going to be in the Christmas special. I'm like, God damn you, what are you doing? Well, I'm just going to turn off my computer and throw out the window.
Now,
Ah,
I saw the
I'm sorry. We haven't been on the air in like 3 weeks, and I got a lot to talk about.
I saw the John Sim thing months ago too,
Yeah.
and I was
like, why? Why?
I didn't read anything
And
about
nothing
it.
about the villains. And even though I knew that it was the Cybermen, I didn't realize until almost the end. God!
Oh.
I didn't know that.
I knew they were going to be okay. So let's start with the Cybermen. I
Yeah.
was waiting all season for them to coming, knowing they were coming. So when you get to the second to last episode,
The
I'm like,
penultimate episode.
penultimate, I'm thinking they've got to be on. And
I didn't make the connection
As soon
until
as-
I started seeing those masks. Oh, I know those masks.
even before that, as soon as something happened to a certain character that I don't want to say because of spoiling it for others, as soon as the first thing happened in the room before the mask, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. I have a little tiny
Little tiny.
disappointment,
He doesn't much.
disappointment in what happened because I think that was retread a little while ago, and I'll explain why off the air.
Jazz hands.
I like the whole season for the most part.
Oh yeah. I love
very-
Bill. I love the
Bill.
callback to the surprise of who the a lot. I didn't see that coming.
Yep.
That was a good surprise, and
Yes.
it seemed to work. I felt it worked.
Yeah, I like
Be as vague as I can without.
I like that this. While I didn't always agree with how the episodes always ended, some of them were pretty abrupt. I thought that the whole season was much more creepy and intriguing, not nearly as easy to watch and figure out everything. They went some crazy directions with some stuff. That was a lot of fun to watch. I think they had more fun producing this series than some of the last couple. I was a little heartbroken with what happened in the very last episode because I really thought something else would fix a couple things, and it didn't. I'm like, oh my God. I thought what John Sim did was fantastic and clever. I sort of thought that's how it would go, but not completely. But I was still very pleased with it. I can't wait for the Christmas special.
Christmas thing, yeah.
I think that's a fantastic direction to go in. I don't know about the third other person. I didn't see that post.
Well, then I won't talk to you about it.
Okay. Well, you can. I won't. I don't mind because I don't mind seeing some spoilerishy things.
All right.
But yeah, I thought it was a really good season, and I was like 6 episodes behind a week ago, and I wanted to see everything and the series finale so I could talk about it this week with a bunch of different people. So I really plowed through it over the weekend.
And now I've done a little more research. Originally, I thought, because I'm going to London at the end of August for the London Super Comic Convention. Get your tickets now. Anyway. But the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff is closing down this year. But it's still going to be open when I'm over there.
Nice.
But I got to figure out, if I'm getting to London Wednesday morning and I can't fall asleep on airplanes, how am I going to go from London to Cardiff and then back in one day and without passing out and without ending up somewhere in the English Channel?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't planning on it being open, but it's open.
Yeah, so
hey, if I'm over there, why am I not going to the Doctor Who experience for one last time?
Yeah.
Steal a few props. There's a little sonic screwdriver in my pocket.
Get a couple of those.
Get a couple of those?
Yeah, I'll take one.
Well, you're not going. Hey, I'm not going to put myself in a line for you.
All right, fine.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm just going on and on. I'm actually looking forward to the next one I'm recording, the next one after this. That's going to be a hoot and a half. Guys, anything else we need to discuss?
Here's some comic talk for you and I'm not going to say how I've done this, but I've read a lot of comics lately. You know how I've done it, but I'm not saying to the world. You probably, if you thought about it, you would.
Who?
I read Action Comics number 978, The Superman Revenge Squad. Great recap of the new Superman's history and the creation of the Revenge Squad. I'm quite curious to see what goes on with that. Birds of Prey 8 and 9 was the Blackbird story.
Batgirl and the Birds of Prey 8 and 9.
Batgirl and the Birds of Prey 8 and 9. Blackbird 1 and 2. Love the story for the undercover canary and the Birds of Prey and Nightwing coming in to rescue her. Like the little twist at the end, and I kind of really bastard who's going to betray them.
Well, keep reading.
Yeah. Batman. So we read The Button, okay?
Yes.
I went back and finally caught up on Batman, read 14 through 20 and 23.
I have to read. I'm up to. I'm a little. Go on.
Rooftop, I Am Bane, and Brave in the Mold.
I have to read those. That's on my next. That's my next to-do list.
Liked Rooftops well enough. Interesting story of Batman and Catwoman's relationship. I Am Bane was okay. A little bit long, I thought, but the third part was fantastic storytelling in the symmetry of Bruce Wayne and Bane's upbringing. In very different ways, but very similar things happened to him. So it was very, very well done. Brave in the Mold, quite interesting. Fun to see Swamp Thing interact with Batman in a different kind of way than what I would expect. And kind of surprised me at the ending. And Batman has every right to be the way he is at the end of that. Blue Beetle 8 and 9, loving Jaime in the classic Blue Beetle costume. Oh, God, I can't plots about that enough. I've read all the JLA books. I'm completely caught up. I didn't write down all the storylines. I'm still having a lot of fun reading those. The Justice League of America, not quite as much fun as Justice League, but still up there in my first 5 books that I pull to read. Read Star Trek Broken Mirror, Free Comic Book Day, and number 1. Love the JK artwork. Oh, my God. Fantastic story. I cannot wait. He's
been posting pictures of his covers.
I've watched
videos of his covers.
I've watched when he does the live ones and comment on it. Oh, it's so much fun. I love the Mirror Universe stories when they're told. So this one with the Next Generation cast is right up there with so far in those 2 issues, man. Absolutely fantastic. I'm way behind on Star Wars, but I read issue 12. So that was fun. Fine way to end that story arc, whatever it was. I read Mask 3 and 4, which were good. It's not quite as good of a book I wish it would be, but I'm still enjoying it. I am sad that it's still being canceled, though, at 10. I hope they're still out there in the universe. I think they're in one of the crossovers coming up, but I wish Mask was a little bit more prominent again. I read Motor Girl 1 through 3. That's crazy fun in a weird kind of wacko way.
We keep going. It's awesome.
And that's the stuff I've read the last 10 days or so.
Nice. I want to praise the first issue of Luke Cage by one of my favorite working writers right now, David Walker. and I don't have it in front of me, but he really grasped the essence of Cage immediately. He's the story. I don't want to spoil it too much if someone hasn't read it yet, but if you're a fan of Luke Cage, if you like the Luke Cage show, which I thought was a wonderful tribute to the spirit of the comic character,
Still have to watch it.
definitely pick up Luke Cage #1. I think 2 is out now as well. It's on my pile. So again, David Walker continues to just impress me as one of the best writers right now in comics. Everything he's touched, I've enjoyed immensely. So I highly recommend that.
Adam, anything else to add here?
Nothing to contribute at this time, no.
Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then I guess we'll wrap it up here. I want to thank everybody for their patience in us putting out an episode because it's been quite a while. Hope you're still out there listening. It's always fun doing these comic talk where I just start rambling.
I just like watching you getting read.
Yeah, that hasn't happened in a while.
All right, so once again, we have a new sponsor. This episode was brought to you by Zia Comics. Check out their website, ziacomics.com, and their podcast, Talk Nerdy to Me.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. To send us an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know what you think of all this craziness that happened today and your exploits over the last few weeks. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Thank you to everyone who contributes to the episode, says hello at conventions and Wild Pig sales. We appreciate everything. It's a lot of fun to meet everybody. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was talking about it going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From cakes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read. And comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is Comic Geek Speak.
Shoot me again. I enjoy it. I love the smell of burnt feathers and gunpowder and cordite. I'm an elk. Shoot me. Go on. It's elk season. I'm a fiddler crab. Why don't you shoot me? It's fiddler crab